Good morning. Welcome to the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. And we have some new members I'd like to welcome aboard. Certainly, we need to welcome our newest board member, commission member, David Kniezek. And then we've got a couple add-ons. Commissioner Dobbs. One more add-on, Commissioner Dobbs. So welcome aboard. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Here.
Commissioner Kniezek. Commissioner Dobb.
Here.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Here.
Commissioner Basham.
Here.
Commissioner Scott. Chair Clark Coleman.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Madam Clerk,
B, approval of the January 29, 2020 meeting minutes.
Support.
properly moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Baydoun. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Madam Clerk,
C, unfinished business. There is none.
there is none. Madam Clerk,
Item D1, under new business, communication from Director of Administration, Wayne County Sheriff's Office, forwarding the report on all county-owned vehicles that are being taken home, used outside Wayne County, and the reason why.
okay, Samaya.
Good morning, Sumaya Harb, Director of Administration at the Sheriff's Office. This report is required by the enrolled ordinance. The undersheriff conducts analysis and recommends to the sheriff who should be able to take vehicles home, depending on who responds to emergencies. And for this, as of January, we have 62 vehicles that are being taken home. Of those, 5 are pool vehicles, where officers, depending on who's on call, will take that car home. And I think there was a need for comparison. Last year, in 2019, we had 59 cars that are being taken home.
59?
Last year, this year is 62.
62.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is the receiving file. So are there any questions on this one? This is the report.
Support.
Properly moved by Commissioner Scott, supported by Commissioner Baydoun. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Madam Clerk,
Item 2, requesting commission approval of a grant award with the State of Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
okay. It's Sheriff's Office also.
Oh, yes, the whole agenda is the sheriff's office.
Oh, okay.
Through the chair, this is a grant we receive every year. The Marine Unit Sergeant is invited to various schools within Wayne County to teach ORV safety education. Last year, he instructed 861 students on safety, how to be safe using the ORVs.
Okay.
So
It's a good program,
it really is, yes.
good program. Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking of Marine Unit, and this is absolutely a safety issue that this commission should be funding. I would ask that each commissioner go down to Elizabeth Park, where the Marine Patrol is, and notice that the old dock that was made out of wood has collapsed. The water levels are higher than they've ever been, and to carry the dive gear to the boat, you have to wear hip boots and walk out to the boat on 2 pallets that stack one on top of the other to carry your dive gear so you can go look for bodies in Detroit River. And so it's almost a travesty that we haven't funded. It's been up year after year. The engineering work is done. It was done by Wade Trim. That we spend as commissioners a lot of energy on parks and stuff, but in fact, the people that go actually find bodies. They found a body in Hines Park, Hines Drive. We should do more as a body to actually fund a dock so that these guys can go out and save lives. And so that's something that's fired me up personally, and I would look for support for the Marine Patrol on that issue. Thank you.
Samaya, would you like to comment on that one?
We already had a very successful meeting last week between Commissioner Basham, Commissioner Palomera, and the CO's office. And we have a grant that we applied for, but the grant needs a match. And our
20%.
match would be, from the sheriff's office, $75,000, which we don't have. That's why we requested the help from the commissioners. We have pictures too, if you like. We can send them to you on how bad it looks out there.
I've got them.
It's, yeah, you have them.
If you want 'em in
Commissioner.
the office, if people want to see them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Baydun?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo the words of my colleague, Commissioner Basham, and I will obviously support this endeavor for the Wayne County Sheriff. And I will make a motion to support item number 2, move for approval, item number 2.
Support.
Who supported that? Okay, it's properly, item number 2. It's been moved by Commissioner Baydun and supported by Commissioner Dobb. Are there questions on motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. And since we're off of this issue, I can certainly understand Commissioner Basham's problem here, or his concern, I should say. I just don't know that we, in this committee, would be able to come up with the funds. I would imagine that that would be something that Ways and Means ought to be handling. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just making all members of the commission aware that, this gave me an opportunity because this item, Marine Patrol was in front of us to start working on trying to get 15 commissioners to support the amount of money we need to get that grant.
And how much
Thank you.
did we need?
It's $150,000 in total. I think $75,000 from DPS and $75,000 from the sheriff's office.
DPS?
Department of Public Service,
Okay, so DPS,
Parks.
they're willing to
Yes, they said they have the
contribute
money.
their 75?
Yeah,
So it's just a matter of getting money from the sheriff's department?
Yes.
Via Ways and Means?
we hope so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, as a member of the Ways and Means Committee, I will definitely bring that up. And we have Commissioner Baker McCormick is on the Ways and Means.
And so is Commissioner Scott.
And Commissioner Martha G. Scott is on that committee too. So yes, you will have our support on that committee, and we'll talk to the commission, the chairwoman of the committee, Commissioner Ilona Varga.
And then when we get what happened? When we get the grant in place and we get awarded, absolutely, we'll bring it back to this body for approval.
As long as we get the funding.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When do you think you'll hear from the grant?
I have to go back to the office. We applied, I want to say about a month ago. I'm not sure because it goes to Port Authority. I'm not sure when the deadline is and when they will be awarding the grant.
It goes to the Port Authority?
Yes.
Then they have to approve it?
Well, yes, they have to apply on our behalf
Oh,
to go
on
to
it,
the state.
okay. Oh, all right. Just wondered what the steps were. Thank you.
Commissioner Basham.
And we have a member on the Port Authority. It'd be nice to make sure that we got that shored up. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, maybe that'll be her first duty. Okay, so, Madam Clerk?
Item 3, requesting commission approval of modification 5 to a memorandum of understanding with the Wayne County Sexual Assault Forensic Examiner's Office.
Okay, Samaya, you want to explain what this is about?
Absolutely. Through the chair, under the Prison Rape Elimination Act, we are required to provide the inmates with outside confidential support services at no cost to the county. And this is how we entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Sexual Assault Forensic Examiners Program. With me, I have the director of PREA, the Prison Rape Elimination.
Yes, we would.
And he would answer specific questions if you
'Cause
guys are concerned.
I have one right now.
Okay.
Just press that little button. Is the light on?
Good morning.
Okay.
Jim Davis, Wayne County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for 30 years, man and boy.
Okay, so This is a way that inmates might address issues of sexual assault. Is that correct?
That is correct. And what the PREA Act, the Prison Rape Elimination Act from 2013, requires of jails and lockups across the United States is that there is an outside independent contractor that inmates could go to for counseling regarding sexual assault or abuse. And this Wayne County Safe is on Second Avenue in Detroit, and they've actually been with us for 5 years. We've had them for a long time. I think one of the issues was should commission vote on a contract that has no cost involved? You know, and why is there no cost is they're funded basically by federal grants. The Crime Victims Fund Act of 1984 funds this group, and they've been willing to come into the jail with their services. And their services are also free to the community, and I brought some flyers if you're interested in knowing more.
So that was my question. I know that it's free to the jail, free to the county, the services are. And I just wondered, this is a nonprofit, right?
I don't know the answer to that.
So I just wondered, where did they get the funds?
They get them from federal grants, and one of the grants that I know that they get is the Federal Crimes Victims Fund. So they're grant supported by the federal government, but they supply these services to the general public at large, and we've just kind of recruited them into the jail to also have free services
Oh,
there.
I see.
So it's free to anyone who avails themselves of their services.
So, okay, so they come into our jails so that they will have an independent voice.
Yeah, someone who they can talk to. And since 2015, they've been here and they've counseled hundreds of inmates.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're a victim in the jail. Anyone who has an issue can request to see them.
So in other words, if a person feels that they were victimized before they were arrested,
Yes,
they could request.
sure. And group counseling
counseling.
sessions. Sure.
Okay. Are there any questions on this one? Can I have a motion? Been properly moved by Commissioner Basham and supported by Commissioner Badrum? Okay. All right. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. We have an addenda item.
Item 4 on the addenda, communication from the Sheriff's Office Director of Administration forwarding a report on the Sheriff's Office county vehicle use.
This is a received and file also, correct? Yes. Received and file.
Through the chair, this report is required by the county vehicle ordinance. In total, the sheriff's office has 243 motorized vehicles. Of that, we have 182 cars and trucks, 13 motorcycles, 10 vehicles that are out of service that we'll be auctioning off. We have 3 command posts. I also gave you an indication how much we spent to date in fuel and in, what else did I give? Repair and maintenance for the fleet as of today's date, or as of the date of the report. To the date of the report, we have spent $60,000, over $60,000 on repair and maintenance, and over $57,000 in fuel charges.
Okay. Are there any questions on this item? Yes, Commissioner Badum? Who was it?
Commissioner Baker McCormick.
I'm sorry, Baker
That's okay.
McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the vehicles that are out of service, what's happening with those?
We usually take those to the central maintenance yard, and they'll auction them off. Last year, I think it was in I don't remember if it was October or September of 2019, we auctioned 25 cars. These will be auctioned at a date that is determined by a CMY.
Okay, and it's 10 out of service.
Right now, as of today, as of January 31st, yes, 10.
Okay. And so will you let us know when the auction occurs?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will Wayne County employees be at the auction when they hold the auction?
Absolutely. We have a director of the fleet maintenance will be there.
Are there any more questions on this item? Okay, we're going Commissioner Dow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we ever get a report that compares the number of vehicles that we own and the amount of fuel, the amount of money we spend on fuel? A comparison is to like maybe the past 5 years? Just because, I'm looking at this and it doesn't really mean much to me, like, oh, we spent $19,000 this year, but how much did we spend last year?
The ordinance that was not specific on how to present the report, but if that's something you guys would need, I would always give you 3 years past
Okay.
and compare it to the present. This report is required in January and July, so maybe for the July, I can have the 3 prior years and then the current year, if that's what you are asking for.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Baker, are you done, Commissioner
Yes,
Dobbs?
thank you.
Commissioner Baker McCormick.
So after the sale of the vehicles, the money that you get from the sale, what happens with that? And
The money
how
goes
is
back.
that into another vehicle?
CMY will send us a report of where the money was allotted, depending on where the car was. It in parks, was it in a marine unit or in the administrative? And then accordingly, we split the money between those. Hopefully, we'll be able to buy. A lot of times, the money is so little, $200 to here. It's not worth it to buy a car with a brand new car that costs $57,000 as opposed to the $200 that we received on the auction. These are cars that are completely out of service.
Okay. So when you say it goes back to that unit or department to use as see fit, is that what you're saying? Or-
It goes to the bottom line, to be honest with you. It could be purchased, because when the revenue comes in, it doesn't match all the expenditures. So let's say we overspent on office supplies, so that will
Supplement.
supplement the office supplies, yeah. It's not money that we can buy or purchase a new vehicle with that,
Thank you.
collectively or separately. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
The only time we would have, when we sell items or sell vehicles that we purchase via a grant from the state, we have to let the state know that we received this much money, and they'll tell us what to spend the money on. We need their approval.
Commissioner Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Basham asked this question, whether the employees are allowed to participate in the auction. Does that mean they can bid on the vehicles?
No. I
he
think he
asked
just,
if they were there.
as a manager
Oh, okay.
overseeing
That's- okay.
the auction
So
procedures.
employees of the county are not allowed, that's a conflict, isn't it, to purchase vehicles?
I don't know do we have a policy?
If it's a public
Public
auction?
auction?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
thank you.
Did you say yes or no?
I said I'll look into it. I don't think, because it's public auction, they can, but again, I have to look at policies and procedures to see if
Yeah,
it
'cause
allows it or
I would
not.
imagine that if it's a public auction, people can bid on homes if they work for the county, so I don't know why they would not be able to bid on this at a public auction. But you need
I'll
to
find
check
out.
it out.
I'll find out.
Okay. Okay, are there any more comments on this one? All right, can I have a motion to receive and file?
Motion to receive and file.
Properly moved by Commissioner Baydun, supported by Commissioner Scott. Any more questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Madam Clerk,
E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I've not been notified. Commissioner,
Just had a question. I don't know if we do it now or.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to see if.
Now,
the-
wait, is this
Yeah,
for
the-
Samaya?
Yes.
Samaya,
That's okay. if the sheriff's office has, what you guys are doing in relation to the report of the suicide issue and the number of suicides?
When I received
That
the
brought up
list,
before?
that was not a report that was requested of us.
No. Oh, I know it's not, it was reported, I should say. Not
news?
In the news,
Ah,
right?
okay, yes.
And I just haven't heard anything about it or received any clarification or communication from the department to
We
say either way.
We usually don't send a report when someone commits suicide, not unless commission asks us to, or requests that the chief of jails comes in to speak about suicide. That's how we bring in the reports, but we've never sent you a report every time a suicide is attempted or
Right,
successful.
well, I mean each time that occurred, but I guess I'm just wondering, is there some way that you're looking at changing what's happening, or I don't know? Yes.
Absolutely, we are.
Commissioner, are you requesting a report on the number of suicides?
Yes, that would be good, but I just, again, thought that they may have had some plans in place that maybe you just haven't brought to the commission to help with the situation. I don't know if the
Well, I don't want to
council
interrupt
have.
Samaya's response.
Well, my only response was going to be that this past weekend, when we had a suicide by the linen, the sheet, someone hung himself, we took out all the linens, and now we're supplying all the inmates in Division 1 and 2 with blankets. So they'll have 2 blankets as opposed to a set of sheet and a blanket, just so we can reduce the number of suicides or eliminate them,
Okay,
prevent
Felicia,
them.
would you like to comment on this issue?
Yeah, so through the chair, most of you are aware that there's a consent order in place. It's been in place since the 70s that the court oversees. In this case, it's been Judge Kinney who's been overseeing it for the last several years. Every time we have an incident of suicide or any other issue within the jail, he addresses that. We actually have an emergency meeting with him
Friday.
on Friday to address this very issue. This issue was also discussed at our last regular meeting we had with him. So he's very on top of that. At those meetings amongst the sheriff's council, our office, corporation council, sometimes it's CCS, the medical staff who over at the jail. We get together to share, the director of jails, talk about the chief of jails, talk about solutions, and one of those solutions, as mentioned, was discussed in that meeting, and they're implementing it now. So there is a process. It's just that due to the sensitive nature of it, it's not something that necessarily comes here, but it is something that Judge Kinney addresses and that is discussed in that context.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. Okay. We can move him right up.
That was it, thank you.
Okay, all right. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I know we're at the end of the meeting. I just want to take this opportunity to wish our friend Andy Canrivas from administration happy birthday.
Oh.
Don't break any plates, please.
Okay, Madam Clerk,
Public comments?
is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment on any of the issues that we've discussed here today? Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment on any of the issues we discussed here today? Hearing none, Madam Clerk,
Adjournment.
this meeting is adjourned.